Okay, guys, so the Snyder Cut comes out tomorrow. I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it before I watch it. What's my expectations, if you will? What's my expectations for this movie? I think in terms of what do I think about this movie in terms of stuff like that, it really comes down to the simple fact that I expect it. See, here's my problem. So the problem with Justice League, I'm not gonna call it Justice League. That's it. To me, no, Justice League. This is just that was the theatrical version of Justice League. The whole notion of that, no, it's Justice League, and a lot of people hate on Joss Whedon, but it's the studio. It's like Joss Whedon is a director for hire. People see whenever I say or whenever I feel like people make the argument of well, Joss Whedon did it because he was paid to do that. Why would you why would the studio asked him to do this, and it was the studio's call. But then to people like, well, if Joss Whedon had any heart, he would turn it down. Okay, money talks. And I don't blame Joss Whedon for doing what he did because at the end of the day, that he wanted to get paid. He has to put food on his family's table. I mean, yeah, sure, there's a lot of allegations. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this situation. But it is kind of interesting seeing the different allegations against him. I don't know, true or not. We'll see. But to be honest, Justice League, the theatrical versions, its biggest flaw is time. Warner Brothers basically said this movie has to be under 2 hours long because the executives need to get their bonuses by the end of the year. So they had to put it out under 2 hours. That was the studio, and they needed to put it out by their same release date. So they really had crunch time to do it. And I think the biggest problem of Justice League, the theatrical version, there's many flaws in Justice League, but the biggest one is time. Because you have to introduce all your characters and really get the plot forward and bring back Superman all in 2 hours. And I think with the scope and scale that they were aiming for, it just wouldn't work. And that's for one thing. And then what they did choose to keep in felt weird. There were certain scenes, like the opening scene with like the whole video camera of Superman, that didn't need to be in there. The fight, the Wonder Woman bank scene didn't need to be there. They could have. So at the end of the day, what they did decide to keep in was very questionable. So I think at the end of the day, you get a film, Justice League, that is very weird and uneven and way too quick to really get all the plot beats down. Which is why I think, number one, I love Snyder as a director. I really enjoyed Man of Steel. I really quite liked Batman vs Superman. And I loved Watchmen. Watchmen was great. I liked 300. So really, for me, he's a director that I very much enjoy. I think he's made some very fantastic movies. So at number one, I like Zack Snyder as a director. I love his visuals. His visuals are phenomenal. I think some of his films are great. And I really enjoy Man of Steel, and I do like Batman vs Superman. So I like Snyder's DC take. Whether you want to throw Watchmen in there or not, doesn't matter for me. But I think Watchmen's his best movie. But at the end of the day, I like Zack Snyder as a director, and it's even like him in DC. And so that's for one thing. I'm looking forward to not because I'm just for the simple fact that I like Snyder as a director. That's number one. And then number two is it kind of could fix the main problem I had with Justice League, is that Justice League was rushed and it wasn't long enough. Well, guess what? The Snyder Cut is 4 hours long. So time shouldn't be an issue. So if it fixes because the story fundamentals were there. Justice League on paper is not a bad concept and story. It's just the execution in terms of the editing process and the color correction and all that stuff. And I feel like this problem wouldn't be there. So I'm fine if you keep the course, because many people want this to feel totally different. It will, in the sense that it's 4 hours long, so, at the very least, 2.5 hours ought to be different. So when you think about that, okay, 2.5 hours is different, and even the shots that Joss used in the final cut were still edited. I really do believe there was no scenes that were completely the same as they were in Zach's vision, because I feel like even then there was color correction, there was stuff like that, which can affect the quality of the film. So I really do, at the end of the day, my expectations are that I just want to be entertained. Like, I'm not coming into the Snyder Cut saying I want it to be different. I want it to be completely different. No. See, my thought is I want to watch this because I want to watch a good movie. At the end of the day, just like any other movie. Many people come into Snyder Cut with like this agenda that it has to be bad or it has to be completely different than the previous Justice League movie or whatever. But for me, it's give me a good movie. That's all I want. It's a good movie. And so if you can deliver me a good movie and a fun movie, and from all accounts, it looks great. The trailers have been cool. I mean, to be honest, I think I like the, I don't know, I don't know how to describe it. I just think the trailers for me have just felt like, okay, it looks good, but it's never been something like a lot of people get so excited when the trailers drop or so excited, and it's like, to me, okay. And I like all these characters, but at the end of the day, it's just my expectation is that I want a good movie. And see, I don't come into it saying I want a good movie, but it has to be totally different. Like, I really do feel, and I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know, but I really do feel like I have a feeling like the core story elements will be the same. It's just giving the exposition and the depth that is needed, because there's so many things going on in the actual Justice League movie that need time to breathe and need to be explained. And if you can give us 4 hours to do that, great. The one thing I'm worried about with it being 4 hours is that I can only imagine that there must be some stuff that would make the pacing off. See, I think they split it into 6 parts. And I think the reason why they split it into 6 different parts is to help the pacing. Because I feel like I have a feeling that the pacing will be all over the place. So they're like, how do we fix the fact that the pacing for a 4-hour movie is all over the place? Well, why don't we say each individual section is its own mini story? And so by saying each individual part is its own mini chapter, then maybe you could say, well, even if if I criticize part 2 is completely different tonally than part 1, then the great way to fix that problem is, well, hey, it's a different part of the movie, so hey. So I think at the end of the day, if the pacing, the way I'm going to look at this is honestly less of a movie, but more of a mini series, because I think that's the only way I could really defeat the problem of pacing. Maybe I watch this because 4-hour movie and say there's totally great pacing, everything was necessary. I have a feeling I'll watch this movie, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'll watch the movie and say, hey, I'm sure there'll be some scenes that aren't necessary. I'm sure I'll watch this movie and say some scenes felt dragged out too long. But at the end of the day, I'm fine with that, because as long as they're good scenes, that's fine. Because I don't want a bad scene of whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So if it's a good scene and it happens to be 10 minutes, sure. But yeah, it's like I'm not like just the Snyder Cut's not this movie that I'm looking forward to like on the level of so many people, because at the end of the day, it's something that okay, I'm excited about, but I'm not like, oh my god, like, because like the Snyder Cut fandom is like going nuts. And believe me, when I heard that they were gonna do this, I was not nuts about this project. I was just nuts at really doing it, because believe me, this topic of the Snyder Cut isn't something new. It's something that's been going on since like before Justice League came out. This has been going on from the single moment that the reports that Zack Snyder left Justice League. This has been going on. So the whole release of the Snyder Cut is going on. I heard that this film is going to end on a cliffhanger. And listen, the whole idea of, are they going to do more? I don't care, If they do, they do, and Warner Brothers probably won't. Even if this film does good, I think it's like a Walter Hamada described it as a cul-de-sac, not a highway, and a cul-de-sac is a roundabout. So obviously, no, it's not going anywhere according to that analogy. But anyways, stay tuned for videos coming at you.